This is the transition to the Mars anomalies part of the topic, because those tie right into this picture, which is why I gave that background, and also to our efforts to currently understand what's going on today in the solar system with the activity of intelligences, past and present. This is a picture taken by one of the Opportunity rovers on the surface of Mars. And the tracks made in the surface there were made by a rover, an Opportunity rover, as it passed by. And as it passed by, some liquid filled in the tracks and froze, and it's as you see it there. This happened several years ago, and there are many pictures like this, including pictures of the rovers with muddy wheels and so on. You wondered why NASA waited until just a couple of weeks ago to announce the discovery of water on Mars, when the water had been discovered on Mars probably a dozen or more times previously, dating all the way back to the early 80s, and was officially announced by the European Space Agency 3 years ago. But NASA didn't recognize any of those discoveries and kept arguing, well, it could be carbon dioxide ice. There's no evidence that it's water. And interestingly enough, there is no experiment on either Spirit or Opportunity which could detect water directly. They're only to detect minerals that could have been modified by water billions of years ago. Reason for that is simple: jobs and money. The approved missions in the space program held off the discovery of water on Mars, according to advanced planning, until the Phoenix mission that just landed a few weeks ago, last month. So if it had been recognized any sooner, the main point of that mission would have been undercut. Likewise, with many of the other findings, both the U.S. spacecraft in 1976 and more recently the European spacecraft have found strong evidence of microorganisms, living microorganisms, in the soil of Mars today. But they don't dare announce that or recognize it either right now, because then the justification for the next 6 missions would be undercut, and it would be back to the drawing board. So our NASA approval, a stamp of approval, will be slow in coming according to the schedule that's been doled out. Remember, I know there's a lot of talk in these conferences about conspiracies. You could call it a conspiracy if you wanted to, but really it boils down to money and jobs. They're humans like everybody else, and if you put a lifetime of work in on building an instrument for a spacecraft and then find that the mission is canceled because somebody beat you to the discovery, it's a devastating thing. So this is the way the space program as it's presently organized works. Here's an example of a couple of fossils seen by the Opportunity spacecraft. Same kind of comment, not officially recognized yet as anything. When we look at the surface of Mars from orbit, we see all kinds of interesting things, and about 1 in every 1,000 photographs returned to Earth has shown something of such high interest that if we didn't know, that if it wasn't published on a NASA website and we didn't know it came from Mars, we would be pretty sure that the pictures had been taken on Earth. And I'll show you some examples of why in a moment. This is a low-resolution photograph of an area with a couple of large craters, as you see. And this white box that's drawn in here on top of the photograph, that's a region where the spacecraft took a very high-resolution view, so we could see close up what was there. And what they were interested in seeing was, what's this dark stain on the floor of the crater? And so when we switch to the high-resolution view, we'll see that it starts here. The spacecraft flies over empty desert sand, Then it comes to the edge of the crater, and we see the shadow on the wall of the edge of the crater. We see a bit of the normal floor of the crater, and then we come to the dark stain. So let's follow the spacecraft. Okay, there's an overview of the strip image it took, and now let's look at that magnified. It starts out over the desert, flat and smooth, not too much of interest. Then we come up to the edge of the crater. We see the shadow on the wall at the edge. We see a flat, smooth floor, and then we see the dark stain. We don't know what this is, but it does change with the seasons and with and even with the time of the day, as the sunlight changes its direction and so on. So it's one of many, many things that we'd like to know more about, but probably won't know officially for many years. This also is something on Mars. I'm tempted to say growing, but we don't know that. This is an area, the coloration is added here on Earth, but we see these large objects with a branch-like structure around a central trunk area. This is a couple hundred meters across in the very low gravity field of Mars. There are many such pictures, and again, they do change with the seasons. And as the picture suggests, the European spacecraft, which does have colors, shows that they green up in the summer. That was one of Arthur C. Clarke's, the late science fiction authors, one of his favorites. He said he thought we'd been short-sighted and that it was 95% certain that Mars is more hospitable to life than previously thought.